Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. I apologize for the tardiness, but I had to deal with this guy Isaiah here, and you know how that goes. But anyway, Julius Randle, ladies and gentlemen, this is his last shot coming up to make a bid for the All-Star game, and we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. He did an interview yesterday with JJ Redick. It's good. We'll talk about that too. So let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome to the Shootaround, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, ring that notification bell. You'll be notified anytime that I go live, drop a video, or post in my community section. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Let's get over here to the panel. Let's talk about Julius Randle, the king of New York, ladies and gentlemen. At least right now he is. Let's go ahead and get into it. Divine, Steph, Joe, Andy, Big Bubba, and Nate in the building. I'm glad Nate is in the building with everything going on in Texas. If you don't know, Nate is in Texas, so it's a blessing to have him here. Sound and safe and sound, whichever way you want to put it. Divine, what's going on with you, man? Good morning, man. How you feeling?
I'm good, brother. MBK midday on a Saturday, man. That's what's up. The shoot around in the building. I'm doing good, Sam. I hope everybody else, man, doing well. Salute to the panel, the chat, everybody out there supporting MBK, man. It's good today. What a good day, Saturday, man. Midday is awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Steph, how you feeling this morning?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. Glad to be here. Shout out to the chat, the panel. I'm glad I did my homework and listened to the podcast on Julius Randle so I could have some input today.
Yeah.
And looking forward to the show.
Yeah, that was a good podcast, Joe.
And glad Nathan is safe.
Yeah, exactly. Joe?
What's up to the chat? What's up to the panel? How's everybody doing? I'm doing good. Kind of boring the last couple. No basketball for the last 3 days, so it's a little bit of time off from it. But it's been I think it's the longest stretch we've had off, right? 4 days.
Yeah, it has. It is. So we'll be back tomorrow. Thankfully, we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah. Andy, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? Happy to be here. I don't know, Sam, if you know, but the NBA plugged us a game because they saw that we postponed one, so they plugged that another one with Detroit, from the second half of the season. So we're gonna have an extra game to get a W on before the second half of the schedule comes up. So that might be a leverage for us.
Yeah, that might be good. That might be good. Big Bubba, man, what's up, man?
What's going on? Pretty pissed. I'm here. It's all your fault. While I'm still here in America, but it's all right. I'll be leaving soon.
Where you meant to be going?
I'm going to the wonderful, beautiful city of beautiful country of Guyana. But Sim was a hater, but he didn't want me to leave. Which I
listen to that guy. Anyway, Nate, what's going on, Nate?
Hey man, what's going on? Thank you for all the love. I'm alive and kicking.
Glad you're safe, Nate.
Yeah, survived Snowvid 2021. Yeah, man. The sun's out right now. Still remnants of the snow, but yeah, all is good, man. Ready to talk some Knicks.
All right, man. Let's get it. Let's talk some Knicks. Julius Randle, that's the topic of conversation today, man. He's got one last chance to make an All-Star bid before All-Star voting begins. Right? We play tomorrow versus Minnesota. And this is his chance to have a nice performance just to kind of cement it in the heads of coaches across the league that I deserve to be an All-Star. Right? And, I'm hoping that he can come out against Minnesota, have a big performance tomorrow. And when you look at the All-Star starters right now, we'll start with the Western Conference. Looking at the All-Star starters in the Western Conference, you got Nikola Jokic, Kawhi Leonard, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, and then the captain of the team is LeBron James. And the reason why he's the captain of the team is because he received the most All-Star votes. Him and Kevin Durant received the most All-Star votes. So that's the reason why they're the two captains. All right, so LeBron received the most All-Star votes in the West. And Kevin Durant, he received the most All-Star votes in the East. So you got Kevin Durant, then Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, and Kyrie Irving. So those are the starters. And I think most of us, knew that Julius Randle was not going to be a starter. I think most of us knew that. Now that he's not a starter, and we know he's not a starter, he still has a chance to become an all-star through being voted on as a reserve. Right? Coaches will vote, I guess, from now until Tuesday. And then on Tuesday night on TNT, they will announce the Eastern and Western Conference reserves. So let's take a look at the competition for Julius Randle. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about, how he matches up with these players and whether or not he can be part of the next 7 players who get voted in. So the way it goes is each coach will pick 2 guards, 3 forwards, and then 2 wild cards. All right, as the reserves for each conference. So looking at the Eastern Conference, potential all-star reserves, and they can choose from anybody, but, this is a list of guys who've been playing well and maybe deserve an all-star nod, besides Julius Randle. You have Chris Middleton from the Bucks. All right, he's a guy that, he's been there. All right, you got Jason Tatum from the Celtics, another guy that's been there. You got Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls, and we've all been talking about Zach LaVine. You got Fred VanVleet from the Raptors. You got Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks. You got Bam Adebayo from the Heat. Ben Simmons from the 76ers. Domantas Sabonis from the Indiana Pacers. And Sabonis is good, man. He might be able to get one of those spots. You got Jeremiah Grant, who he's had a revelation of a year for the Detroit Pistons, right? He's improved offensively, and he's already a good defensive player. Drew Holiday from the Bucks, Tobias Harris from the 76ers, and then you got Nikola Vucevic from the Orlando Magic. We just seen Nikola Vucevic in action, right? So that's Julius Randle's competition. And, just looking at the teams that's on here, the Knicks have beaten the Bucks. They've beaten the Celtics. They've beaten the Bulls. They've beaten the Hawks. They've beaten the Pacers. We have yet to play the Pistons. And we've beaten the Magic, and we've lost to the Magic. We also lost to the Pacers. We also lost to the Bulls. Right? So when you look at these teams and everything's not going to be based on record. I guess when it gets down to this area, some of it's going to be based on record. But, some of it might come down to head-to-head matchups, right? Julius Randle's faced off against these guys. The Knicks have beaten some of these teams. What are your thoughts? Does he make it over these guys, or who do you, Divine, look at as the biggest threats to Julius Randle?
Real quick, don't hard subscribe, NBK, man. Hit them thumbs up, man. Get the like button popping off in here. So that's a tough one, man. They all deserving. You know what I mean? All them cats are deserving, man. They having a good year, man. A lot of them guys. So it's tough to say, man. I'm biased, so but I think based on what Julius Randle been doing this year, pretty much played almost every game, as far as I know. We had one of the toughest schedules in the NBA in the first half of the season per se. So and his numbers speak for themselves. Man, like I said, I don't see every player every night. I don't even go by what they. What I seen them do, but Julius Randle, I just think the Knicks record speak for itself. They're 2 games under 500, so that's going to play a part to me in some. But just think about it: without Julius Randle, the Knicks would be a 4-win ball club. You know what I mean? To me,
Facts.
You know what I mean? We would be a 4-win ball club without Julius Randle. You know what I mean? So I just think the reason why I think he should get voted is one, his numbers speak for themselves. His all-around game is improving. I mean, he putting this franchise on his back, not his team. The Knicks franchise is relevant right now because of Julius Randle. You know what I mean? And I don't think you could say that about a lot of them guys over there. And then he putting up the numbers. Like I said, we had one of the toughest schedules, playing a lot of good competition, and he going up against some of the best dominant power forwards in the business. You know what I mean? And he's giving it to a lot of them cats, 23 and 10 or whatever. You know, that's no doubt he should be there. From my point of view, I think he earned that over a lot of them guys because our record speak for itself, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Andy, what do you think? Who's his stiffest competition with the guys that I just read off there?
Yeah, you know, I think you got to look at the big men. So I'm going to think Bam Adebayo. I'm going to think Sabonis. You know, I would think Jeremy Grant, but I think the record of the Pistons is not, you know, that much for him to be considered this year. He has a breakout year, like you said, probably is a candidate for most improved player, you know, because he came out of Denver where he was actually a great player, but, you know, he never would shine over Jokic and Murray. So, you know, that's why he had to leave probably. But, you know, the rest of the guys, you know, it's for me, it's not that good of a competition when you think about it, because, you know, I think Middleton might not make it this year because, you know, they're going to have Giannis and I don't think, you know, Drew Holiday is going to make it. So you can count off, you know, both of the Bucks players. I think one of probably, you know, Jason Tatum is going to make it. James Harden is going to make it for sure. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm considering also Ben Simmons, but I don't know if they're going to consider him a guard or a forward. You know, and this is only just for the thing that, you know, we're gonna have Embiid right in the game. So I think, you know, they might add Simmons there, and, you know, also Vucevic, right? You know, he's a big guy that's probably, you know, gonna be, you know, in competition for Julius's spot. But I think he can make it actually this year, and looking at the record that we have, I think he should. So. He torched some of these teams, like you said. So I think coaches might have a, you know, tough time to vote not for him, just for other guys.
Right. Joe?
Sim, how many forwards did you say? You said the 7 guys go in. It's 3 guards, 4 forwards.
Two guards. No, it's 2 guards, and then it's 3 forwards that you have to pick, and then there's 2 wild cards. You can pick those 2 wild cards. You can pick anybody.
All right. The only ones I think that'd be ahead of them might be Bam and Sabonis. Other than that, I think he should get in. As Andy said, like, he's beat a lot of these teams, and our record is where it is because of him. So they have to encounter, like, the record is a big thing, because you look at, okay, so the Heat are below us. You look at Detroit, I don't think Grant might go in as a wild card, but I don't think he's going to go in as a reserve, because look where Detroit's record is. Like, he's putting up good numbers, but they're empty stats because they're not winning games. So I think Randle should get in. It's a problem if he doesn't get in, because when you look at that type of thing, if you take Randle off the Knicks, where are we? But you take Sabonis off the Pacers, I think they're in or around the same, where there are maybe a couple of games less. And then if you take Bam off the Heat, they'd be the same, I think, or close to the same. So I think you need to look at that as consideration, definitely, because like that's how it is. It's all-stars should be put in about compared on winning. And Randle's putting up numbers that is making us win games.
Okay.
So
right.
I think he should get in.
Yeah. Isaiah, I'm going to come to you, man. What do you attribute to Julius Randle's early season success?
I think his early season success definitely comes through experience. And each year he's gotten better. I mean, to me, besides like last year, where it was bad. It was bad last year. But, you know, over the other years, he's been improving. He's been improving as a player. Then I think the coaching really matters. I think this is his first time really having a coach that's established. I mean, if you look throughout his history, he hasn't really had that many stable coaches coming from LA to New Orleans. I mean, you know, they weren't the best of coaches. I think Tom Thibodeau definitely put him in a good role where he's excelling at. The teammates around him, I think, have gotten better. RJ's gotten better. Elfrid Payton, they're comfortable with each other, and Mitchell's gotten better. So that contributes too. So, and also just the hard work that he's put in, with Randle. He's, one thing I would say that I really liked was that he recognized last year wasn't a good year. He let himself down. He let his teammates down, and he improved upon it. And right now, you're seeing the fruits of his labor. So it definitely, to me, it's about the coaching and really about himself. And then the teammates around him gotten better, and they, the whole Knicks as a team stepped up their games this year. So, those are big contributors to what we're seeing now from Julius Randle.
Yeah. Nate, how much do you attribute the coaching staff, Tom Thibodeau, Kenny Payne, all of those guys, and I like the way, Isaiah tried to take a little shot at Elfrid Payton, even though we're talking about Julius Randle, but that's neither here nor there. Nate, Elfrid Payton is Elfrid Payton is actually having a decent season as well. But anyway, go ahead, Nate. How much do you attribute the coaching staff to Julius Randle's rise this season?
So with Julius Randle has been a 2010 guy his whole career. But a lot could argue that they're kind of, hollow stats because they never really impacted the teams he was with. Plus, because he was playing with better players, too. Anthony Davis, Kobe Bryant, he was playing with better players. So, he really didn't get a chance to shine. I would say Thibs has had an effect on him in the sense that Thibs probably went to him and said, listen, you're the best guy on this team, and you need to be the leader of this team, and you need to do what you've been doing before, which is you can score the ball. What I will say is that his shot has improved tremendously because if people remember Julius Randle from college, the guy could not hit a jumper. His life depended on it. All he would do is just bully over people in the paint. Now the guy can shoot 3-pointers at a high clip. He can hit that fadeaway little floater back step shot. I mean, he's got a lot of arsenal now, and he is a threat now in this league, and people are noticing it. And I'm telling you, he's a shoo-in to be in the All-Star game. I don't care what anybody says. All the coaches see it. They see his improvement. They see how he has led the team in all 3 categories of this team. And we would not even, we have a horrible offense right now. I think we're rated one of the bottom. Just imagine how bad we would be without Julius. There wouldn't even be a staff for us. That's how bad we would be. So Julius is literally keeping us above water when it comes to the offense, because obviously we don't have anybody else that can score at that kind of clip. So I think he's a shoo-in. I think it's not even a debate. I think he's already in. I think the coaches see that this guy has improved, how he's made the Knicks better. He's made them relevant. And the guy just overall has just improved his game tremendously on both sides.
Yeah. Okay.
And I do credit Thibodeau by really sitting down with him and telling him, hey, man, you're our guy.
Yeah. Steph, same question. How much do you attribute to Thibodeau and the coaching staff with what's happening with Julius Randle? Is it because he is, they've put him in, just the right situation, the right type of schemes, his work ethic? How much do you attribute it to the coaches?
I would probably say 60-40, because the coaches can scheme as much as they want. If you don't have the talent, if you don't have the mentality to play in this league, it's just not going to work. Randle is different. When LeBron James signed with the Lakers, he asked to be a free agent.
Right.
People would have loved to just, LeBron is coming. Oh, there's an opportunity for me to get a championship. He wanted his own team, or to be, a top target or a top player on a team. So that's his attitude. I think he's gotten better each year. I think, as he said, last year with the Knicks was his first time being in that situation. So we have to allow him that type of growth. This is the first time where he was being a point forward. This is the first time where he was being counted on to be successful in order for the team to win. And I think anybody is going to have growing pains in that situation. And he did. But this guy went out and he put in work. You know, he wasn't. Last year, I think he shot 34% from the 3-point line. That was his maybe first or second season actually shooting 3-pointers, right? So people saying he can't shoot, you're gonna get better year after year. And he had that season last year, and he built off of it. I don't know how much he was looking at Twitter. I don't even think it mattered. I think he would have did that anyway. So I think that was part of it. And then also coming in and having a coach that believes in you, having a coach that's going to hold you accountable, having a coach that's counting on you, and it's going to give you the space. A lot of times there's people in this game whose game is a bit more developed than what we see, but they're playing within a system or for a coach that's not going to allow them to do all of that, right? So as much as we got on Thibs last year for playing Randle in this stretch 3 position, Thibs did the same thing because Thibs saw that potential in him as well. And I think it's just a regular ascension. You know, he's just growing. But to your point, Thibs allowed him to do that and also put him in position to do that. And when he started turning the ball over, if you notice, he's handling the ball much less. Thibs not going for that. I'm going to give you a little rope. I'm going to let you bring the ball down, whatever. You start turning the ball over, we're going to take the ball out of your hands some, let the guards bring it up. So he does bring it up at times, not as much. And that has brought his turnovers down. So I think it's both, Sam, but I would give a little more to Randle and his work and a little less to Thibs, maybe 60-40. 60,
yeah, because he definitely put in the work, during his off season, right? He said he went and he was shooting like, what did he say? 1,000. He forced himself to make 1,000 shots a day.
Yeah.
Right. If you listen to that interview, and that's a lot. You know, you hear people say take 1,000 shots. There's a difference between taking 1,000 shots and making 1,000 shots. Right. There's a huge difference there. You know, and that's something that he took it upon himself to do, is say, hey, I want to take 1,000 shots per day. You know what I'm saying? That's that's huge, and it talks, and it relates to his work ethic and how hard he wants to work and how much he really wanted it. Because they did ask him in that interview yesterday with JJ Redick, about his shot and about him improving his shot, and like you said, like you alluded to, he didn't begin to shoot the ball until he went to the Pelicans. Then they started working on the shot, and they were like, hey, you need to shoot the ball.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's when he really began to shoot the basketball. And now, he went from 34% to 34% with the Pelicans to 27% last year, and now he's up to 41% this season. You know what I'm saying? Which is good, and that's a testament to him hitting that gym and shooting 1,000 shots or making 1,000 shots per day. And before we get to some of these clips, because we're talking about coaching and the impact that coaching has had on him, and not just him, but the entire team. I want to get to Prince, then I'll say what's up to Chop, and then we'll get to that. But Prince, if the coaching continues, and maybe I should have saved this to the end, but I'm gonna ask you now, and then we'll revisit it. We'll give you a primer, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this is like your salad before the meal. All right. Do you think that if he continues with this coaching staff, can he continue to ascend? Right? Because, Julius Randle, in the interview yesterday, he mentioned it himself. Most people don't expect someone to rise to the level of an all-star in their 7th season. Right? But can he continue to ascend? He's only 26 years old.
Peace to the chat, Shabbat Shalom to everybody out there in Nickville. You know what I'm saying? Salute to the panel, salute to the chat. Hey, run up them likes for the Power Father. But Sim, I'm gonna have to just definitely jump on a bandwagon, brother. I can only see Julius getting better. I don't see his physical prowess. I mean, we see he's always been a physical specimen, so I don't see his game as far as from a physical standpoint and athleticism changing. But I believe Kenny Payne, Thibodeau, and Johnny Bryant can help him open up the game more from a philosophical standpoint and more from a cerebral standpoint. Because again, if he can get smarter, understanding reps, understanding, paying attention to detail. What I heard him talk about in that interview too, that Thibs has brought to them. I only see more and more for Julius. Now, again, we don't see his game changing much from, just being a guy who's just going to boom, boom, boom and put the ball on the ground and be a LeBron. But again, Julius can definitely get smarter, learn his players more, find other ways in the game to make himself better. If that's, taking advantage of different rules, like, his little sweep through move that he likes to do when he gets people on that left block and he sweeps through, and that's an easy foul for him. So it's just little things like that, nuances of the game that I could see Julius truly growing from with this coaching staff. I believe it's like Thibodeau said, he wanted teachers and guys who could, bring every ounce of effort out of these guys. And, I think Johnny Bryant, Kenny Payne, the Greer boys, I think all of them are only going to do, great things for Julius in his career. So, Sim, I just see him growing more. But again, I don't see his physical game changing, but from a cerebral standpoint of the game, I see him growing even more.
Yeah, and that can help you to produce more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And big shout out to Who's Mark in the chat. He's mad, right? He's mad because Julius Randle is being mentioned in All-Star talks, right? And Kristaps Porzingis ain't. That's what he's mad about. That's what he's mad about. You know what I'm saying? Because Porzingis can no longer play defense in the NBA. All he can do is kind of sit behind that arc, knock down a couple of threes. That's what he's mad about. It's okay, Mark. It's okay to be upset.
We missed you, Mark, man. It's good to finally see you, brother. It's good to finally hear about you, man.
Yeah, it's okay to see that KP is, to be jealous. That KP is getting paid $30 million a year. And, can't play defense anymore. And Julius Randle is still ascending, only getting paid $20. That's all right.
Ouch.
You ain't got to be mad about it. Just take it for what it is. We try to tell you about Kristaps Porzingis, but, you wanted to argue with me. You know what I mean?
He should be happy about KP because the Mavs might give us a better draft pick.
No, Mark is a KP fan. He's not going to be happy about it. He's a KP fan.
No, he's not
going to be happy about that. You know what I'm saying? Now, one of the things that before the season even started, because I think that Randle does attribute a lot of what he's doing this season to Tom Thibodeau and the way that Tom Thibodeau coaches, his attention to detail and those type of things. Yesterday, Julius Randle was on a podcast with JJ Redick, right? Really good podcast. It was a very, very insightful. I think the podcast was about 55 minutes or something like that. Very insightful podcast with JJ Redick, right? The name of the podcast is The Old Man and the Three. Right? It's the name of the podcast. It's with JJ Redick and Tommy Alter. Very good podcast. They have a lot of guests on the show. Of course, they had Julius Randle. They have all kinds of guys. Steven Adams has been on the show. They've had Carmelo Anthony,
of guys, yeah.
Jamal Crawford on the show. Jimmy Butler, right? That's what you said, Andy.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler, Mike Conley. So, like, they get a lot of guys on the show, obviously, because it's JJ Redick and he's still in the NBA. So it's really good talk because they get to, really talk about the differences between teams and what they do from a coaching standpoint and stuff like that. And you heard some of that in the conversation with Julius Randle. So, you can go check out the entire thing. I'll make sure I drop the link in the chat. The link will be in the description in the video as well. All right, but we got a couple of clips. I reached out to him, actually, because I wanted to make sure that it was all good, that I do a couple of clips. I reached out. They said, sure, go ahead. So, we got a couple of clips. The first thing I want to play is Randle talking about Thibodeau and when Thibodeau was about to be hired. Right? Because all of us thought from the beginning that as soon as the season was over, everybody thought Randle was gone. He was done. He wasn't coming back to the Knicks, especially when Obi Toppin was drafted. Everyone figured that was it. It was a done deal. But to me, from everything that I've heard and read, it just seems that it was different. Tom Thibodeau reached out and said, this is how I want to use you. And now you hear from Randle that the front office had discussions with him about what he needs to be successful. Let's take a listen to what Randle had to say.
We were going through the whole, process of like hiring the coaching staff and all that type of stuff. Wes called me. He was like, what do you need to be, the player that you need to be? What do you need to be to get to that level? And I was like, I need a coach who's going to push me and hold me accountable, first off. And, when Thibs got the job, I thought it was a perfect fit. For me, I crave like Thibs' coaching, him pushing me, challenging me, because I know it's coming from a good place. Like, we want to win. And I kind of feel like we're one and the same person. Like, we do the same thing. Like, we like to work hard. We like to just love the game of basketball, really, man. And I feel like everything from that, what Thibs is doing, stems from a good place. So I enjoy it.
Now, that sounds very different than, what everyone heard before camp and after the end of the last season when we went into the break and all that kind of stuff. Andy, you and I discussed it when we did the Coach's Corner on Randle, that Thibodeau's style could, be something that Julius Randle doesn't want and he fights back against, or it could be perfect for him. And it sounds to me, at least from what Randle was saying, is that it's been perfect for him, and it's a big part of the reason why Randle's doing what he's doing, and that they match. You know what I'm saying? Do you think with them two, with Randle and Thibodeau being able to, their styles matching so much, at least from what Randle is saying, and it seems like from what Thibodeau says, is that a big reason why the team can play so well? Because you have your best player who works so well with the coach, and now everything else can resonate because Tom Thibodeau can be hard on Julius Randle, which means everyone else now has to follow suit.
Yeah, exactly. Same like you said, because we were talking about that Thibs might be the make or break guy, right? So, and I'm also happy about Julius's approach to having a coach like Thibs. He wasn't known as the best defensive guy over the team, and he's probably not the best defensive guy here. But we definitely see a defensive approach from Julius this year, compared to his previous years. Also, him changing his game up in the meaning that he passes up the ball more. He's more of a team player, and you can see it basically with half of the squad back. We see a definitely different, Julius Randle compared to last season. So, I'm happy he and his approach changed. I think it at least changed totally to this season. And, that's why he meshes well with Thibs. And like he said in the interview, in the podcast, that he was asking for a coach that's going to demand from him. And, when you have that kind of attitude, it's really good from your best player, at least. And like you said, he can, Thibs can go hard on Julius, which means he can go hard on everyone. Because if you have a star player like you have, for example, in the Nets, I don't think, James Harden would appreciate, Thibs yelling at him and pointing out his blunders. I don't think he would handle it good, and that would cause rifts in the locker room and differences between the coach and the players.
Yeah. Divine, same question. How big of an impact does Julius Randle's relationship with Tom Thibodeau have on the team?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, it's huge because, first of all, he's the leader. You know what I mean? He's the leader. You know what I mean? If I think if all the teammates see him get the respect of the coach that they have with each other, everybody else will follow. You know what I mean? And I think Julius Randle, he's been around some of the most. Let's say he came into an organization like the Lakers, historic franchise. He done played around people who demand accountability. Kobe Bryant, you know what I mean? And then he was in a situation where he understood what it was to see leadership and come together and learning from the better ones. And I think that's what he's doing with Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau is a great coach because his record speaks for itself. So he's one of them accountable coaches. But I think that's what Julius Randle wanted. I think like even last year, I think that was one of the things where we labeled Julius Randle kind of like, because he had a bad year with all the dribbling, turning over the dribbling, but they didn't look at everything else he was doing. You know what I mean? That Julius Randle was a good leader. And I think that being with a leader respect leaders. You know what I mean? And I just think that relationship with Tom Thibodeau is so easy because that's what he won. You could tell by the work that he put in. He always going at it every day in the off season. He goes at it, and that's what leaders do. They don't follow, they lead. And I just think that Julius Randle, his mindset, he had the same mindset that Tom Thibodeau have to me, and to say that they both want to go at it, hold each other accountable, go hard. I think that's a good thing, man. I think the other teammates, that's the reason why I think they follow them, because they see that. That's why the chemistry is there so much.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna get around. I'm gonna get back around. I want to listen to another quick clip. He talks about what it's like playing for Thibodeau right now. All right, so let's take a listen to Julius Randle talking about what it's like to play for Tom Thibodeau.
Thibs is the type of guy that, he just expects a certain level, like you said, a certain level of professionalism. He expects you to do things the right way, be prepared and do things the right way on a day-to-day basis. And if you don't want to do that, then it's going to be tough. So, I mean, we go about practice a certain way. We go about shootarounds and stuff a certain way. And I respect it. And I appreciate it because, early throughout the season, we're seeing the results of creating the right habits, doing things the right way. So, I mean, it's dope for me. And honestly, man, he's not as much of a hard ass as people think he is, bro. Like, the dude is super cool, bro. Like, you can talk to him, like, he gonna kill me if you see him. He really is soft, man. Like, you can talk to him. So I mean, Thibs is dope, bro. Like, he's dope. He's really, honestly, he's a player's coach. Like, this is the most fun as far as in the league that I've had playing for sure.
All right, Steph. And first of all, you can tell to me, just listening to that, I can see it's genuine, right? And I do believe that, he is that kind of coach where it's like, he's demanding, very demanding, which sometimes can intimidate players, who's not used to having a coach that is that demanding. But is Tom Thibodeau, do you think Tom Thibodeau's bark is worse than his bite? Do you think he really is soft? He just demands a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm guessing when he's talking about soft, he's just talking about that he has a lot of heart outside of basketball. Like, you could talk to him about anything. He has a perspective on it. He's not a hard ass, so to speak, on issues outside of basketball. So I think that's what he meant. But inside the lines, he's not taking any prisoners. Inside the lines, there's a certain way he wants things done, and you're doing it that way or you're not playing, period. Outside of that, the laugh, joke it up, talk about it, but he's soft. I mean, I would think maybe he's had some conversations with him about certain issues, and just his perspective on those issues showed that he had a lot of heart. That's what I'm taking from he's kind of like a softie outside of it, outside of basketball.
And you know what I kind of take from it is that he does a good job. And this has been something that people argued about or had debates about or talks about, or maybe it's been and is maybe contrary to his reputation, that he does a good job developing relationships with his players, right? Even though he's hard, and that players respect his attention to detail, respect his toughness, and so it develops that type of relationship, and then he becomes that father figure kind of guy that you have a healthy fear of when it comes to basketball. But if you do have some issues, you can say, hey, coach, can I talk to you for a minute? And he'll lend his ear to you and give you that undivided attention.
Right.
And that makes players want to play for you when you do things like that. You know what I'm saying? And it makes it easier for players to accept discipline. Right? I think of somebody like Mike D'Antoni when he was coaching for the Knicks. And one of the things that came out from Mike D'Antoni, I think someone asked him about, this happened with David Fizdale too, but I think it happened with Mike D'Antoni as well. Someone asked him about, telling a player that he wasn't going to play or wasn't going to start. And certain things that were done in practice. And he delegated a lot of duties to assistant coaches, which of course you do. Right. But he didn't develop that personal relationship. It was very business-like with Mike D'Antoni. And I just don't think you can coach that way. Right? I think you can't be a coach. These guys grow up playing youth basketball, playing high school basketball, AAU basketball, where for the most part, coaches develop relationships. Right, when you're playing AAU basketball, you rent a 15-passenger van and you drive, 400 or 500 miles to go to a tournament, and it's just you, your assistant coach, and the rest of the team. You know what I'm saying? And you guys bunk up in Airbnbs and in hotels. You know what I'm saying? And you're spending all this time together. And so there's a lot of relationship building, and that's what these guys are used to. You come into the league and coaches are just like very business-like. I think it could turn you off from players. So someone like Thibs, who's an old school type of coach, who's going to be hard-nosed, but able to develop relationships. And you got a lot of love and respect for him. And I think that's what is attracting Julius Randle. And, when it's all said and done, Thibs might end up being his favorite coach to play for, and that, the type of players that the Knicks brought in, talking about even last year, are just like kind of that old school basketball type of guys. And so Thibs was, and even though I was a big advocate of Kenny Atkinson, I'm not going to lie, but Thibs was the right guy. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Sam. You know what's crazy, man? Because I understand where Julius Randle's coming from. Because I'll bring it to like my job, right? A couple years ago, I had this great boss, and he said something to me that really stuck out to me, and it's like it really like it affected me for the rest of my life. I can say that. Like I remember one time we had a meeting, right? In the meeting, he was like, "Hey, listen, we got to get along. We have to get along because I see you guys more than I see my family." So basically, we're gonna have to work like a family, or it's not gonna work at all. And we all brought in, and by God, he was the best boss I ever had. And you know what, man? There's been jobs where you don't really like people, but that job really affected me because it's like I never wanted to disappoint him. That's the relationship. Like I never wanted to like make his life harder, or do stuff like that, man. It was really like a great relationship. I mean, we still have a relationship to this day, even though I don't work there. I don't like none of you guys, but it's kind of close to that. It's kind of close to what I have there.
Okay, all right. And you know what, Nate? No, that's a great point. That's really a great point. But Nate, I didn't know you went and got a tan that quick. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't. I said, go ahead, Nate. and then Isaiah just starts speaking. I didn't know you can get a tan that quick, but anyway, go ahead, Nate.
Good to see you okay, Nate. Good to see that you're okay, yeah?
Thank you. This was more, this podcast is interesting. I'm actually going to try to check the whole thing out. This was more of an indictment against Fizdale. I think when Julius Randle talks about how Thibodeau is different and how, you know, he holds him accountable and how he challenges him, it kind of shows that that's what Fizdale was doing with Julius. And that could kind of explain why Julius struggled last year, because he really, maybe him and Fizdale did not see eye to eye. And at times last year, it looked like Randle was kind of doing his own thing. You know, and I just feel that the way he talks about Thibodeau, first off, when has Thibodeau ever been known as a player's coach? That to me was a damning statement right there, you know, because we all thought that that's what Fizdale was going to be. Fizdale's going to be this guy that's going to galvanize the troops and get them excited, and we're going to play hard and we're going to win and all this stuff. And that didn't happen. But with Thibodeau, for him to call him a player's coach, that tells me two things. Either A, Thibodeau changed his coaching style up to kind of adjust to the young team, or maybe he just really is a player's coach and he never gets that kind of respect. And now players like Julius Randle, the best player on our team, is coming out and saying that. I think that's huge, because going forward, that relationship is going to be important, because, you know, they both need each other, and they need to galvanize the youth on this team to follow along with what Randall's doing. Yeah. So
and you know, honestly, I mean, how many players have really come out and said, I don't like playing for Tom Thibodeau? I don't think there's been many that have come out and said that. I think it's just kind of been a preconceived notion, if I want to use the words that Julius Randle used when they asked him about, you know, how he felt when Tom Thibodeau was coming on. I think it's kind of been that. I don't think there's been many players who have come out and said that they didn't like playing for Tom Thibodeau.
I think Towns may have been the only one, right?
Maybe Towns. Yeah, maybe Towns.
And I don't even think his was more like, I don't want to play. It was just more like a difference of basically he was lazy. Cat was lazy, and, you know, Tom probably was on his butt. Like, that's it. I never really heard him, you know, come out and word for word say, he trash, or I don't want to play for him. I just think that, like Jimmy Butler and, you know, the rest of them guys were saying, them cats was young. They thought, you know, the NBA was only about coming to practice, taking selfies, swapping jerseys, and that's the NBA. Like, no, this ain't the NBA, bro. And, you know, right.
And that's a fact too, Prince, because remember, I don't know if you ever saw the Bleacher Report when they do the cartoons. Remember they had the one with Jimmy Butler chasing them guys. Nobody's practicing. But Julius Randle did say, what everybody thought about Thibs is not like that.
Right.
You understand?
Right. And I think, like Julius Randle said, if you're somebody who doesn't like coaching, then he's going to be a hard coach for you. If you're someone who likes coaching, then you're going to enjoy it. You know?
You have to buy in.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be real. I thought the biggest issue with Cat and Wiggins was that I don't even think it was Tom Thibodeau. I think it was more Jimmy Butler. And I feel like I think the biggest issue was that I think that Tom Thibodeau was allowing Jimmy Butler to be who Jimmy Butler was. And I think that rubbed him the hard way, because if I don't remember a couple of years ago when he did the interview with Rachel Nichols on The Jump, he's basically saying like Chop said, that, you know, they're lazy, and they think, or what Prince said was that they're lazy and that they think the challenge is going to push them to the NBA, and that, you know, they deserve all the things without the hard work. So, you know, I think that's probably the biggest issue with Cat and Andrew Wiggins, because like you said, though, Sim, there hasn't been a player that's never said they didn't like Tom Thibodeau.
Right.
From what I heard.
Right. And I think it has to be with you know, when you talk about Jimmy Butler, he knew what to expect from Tom Thibodeau.
True.
And he knew what Tom Thibodeau expected from his players. Right. And so when Butler came in and they seen, okay, you know, he's allowing Jimmy Butler to kind of be him and do him. why, and maybe they didn't understand, well, Tom Thibodeau taught this guy how to be, raised this guy up from a youth, basically, coming into the NBA. And so everything about Jimmy Butler was from Tom Thibodeau. Obviously Jimmy Butler has his own characteristics, but Jimmy Butler and Tom Thibodeau, their characteristics kind of go together. You know what I'm saying? Their characteristics kind of go together, work together, and because of that, he allowed Jimmy Butler to be in practice and maybe express how he was feeling, express certain things, because Tom Thibodeau knew that he represented the same mindset or something like that. And I think that Julius Randle, and he didn't really just go back to just talking about Fizdale. He was just saying out of all the coaches that he had,
right?
He was talking about all of his coaches, and and he's gonna go in. I'm gonna hear from Prince, and then we'll talk about how he talks about the attention to detail, because I think this right here is really key to not just the Knicks but Julius Randle, and why Julius Randle is playing the way that he's playing when we talk about this attention to detail. But go ahead, Prince.
Sam, and that's just one thing, especially if some of us out in the chat and in the panel, we've coached different various levels. And like you said, when you get into a coaching regime, it's one thing that, again, you want to relate to the players. And I think that I'm that type of coach. I'm a laissez-faire type of coach. I would rather have the team create their own council of, captains and leadership, so that, again, I can hold that leader accountable and I don't have to feel like I'm, pounding that iron fist. But also, I've also seen with that, when I look back at seasons and I said, okay, where could I have got better? What could I have done differently, or what could I have changed? And it's a lot of those instances where I was like, okay, maybe I did come in a little too lackadaisical and a little too friendly, where it was harder to rein back in practices or bad play or any of those things. If you are a coach who's going to be one of those laissez-faire type of coaches, because again, it will get you in trouble. And I think that I aided with Fizdale, and I remember you saying this, Sim, last year, that you didn't like a lot of the things that you seen from Fizdale. And again, that's the difference in our coaching philosophies. Because again, you seen, hey, B, that's going to be a problem, period. And again, I'm like, no, it's cool that he opening that door to the players so that they feel more comfortable. But like you said, when you're talking about a professional environment, guys who are playing at the primitive level of competition, when you look at that, you got to say that, these guys want to be held accountable. And I think truly we see that with Kevin Knox's first interview. He said it early in the season. I'm used to this coaching. I'm used to guys holding me accountable. Thibodeau cussing him. I mean, not Thibodeau, but Calipari cussing him out. His daddy cussing him out. His mama slapping him upside his head. So to hear it come from, like Nate said, and, Nate kind of stole my glory because that was what I was going to speak to too, is that I felt that was exactly who and what Julius was talking about, just the lack of just coaching structure. Bigger than anything. And just moving forward, I just can see that, definitely that Thibodeau is, he from the outside, we think of him as a hard butt. But again, I've seen Thibodeau this season, like his smile sometimes when he gives those fist pounds to the guys, I'm like, this old dude is really enjoying himself. Like, as much as he can cuss all he want, that's what he loves to do. But I think the part that he's loving more is truly watching these young guys grow and being able to change the narrative around him and coaching. And I think we'll see that in the years to come. So
yeah. And I can tell you, it is very hard. Hold up, Chop. Hold up, because I'm about to get to this call. It's very hard, in my opinion, to come in soft with a team and then try to get hard with the team. Right. You build the respect by coming in hard, and then you can let up because they know that you will get hard if you need to. Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, I come into my first practices and, like, I'm already, like, before I even introduce myself if they don't know me. I'm like, everybody line up, count off. If we got 25, 30 people in there trying out, everybody line up right now, count off. Boom, 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 boom. First 15, let's go. 2 suicides, bam. The next 15 players, 2 suicides, bam. And I hit them with a couple of things, and then I introduce myself. Because now they're like, they jump right off like, hold up, wait a minute. I'm not playing with this guy ain't playing with us. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's important that you start off tough and then you can ease up later on and develop that relationship. Let me get to a phone call. Big shout out to Gail Berry. He said, what's up, Sim? You and the crew are doing great. Thank you. We appreciate you, man. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Good early afternoon to you and your team. This is Jay Boogie. I just want to say, if it wasn't for Tom Thibodeau and his, assistants on the bench, this is the perfect team right now to be over here on that sideline. I will definitely support you supporting and rocking with the Knicks, man. This goes all the way back to Larry Johnson's situation, man. When Thibodeau was assistant to Van Gundy. When Larry Johnson came to New York, Tom is the one that changed that man's whole game around. Larry was a back-to-the-basket type person. He personally took that man up under his wing and made him more of a face-in-the-basket type person. And I appreciate Tom for understanding and realizing, Julius's whole complete game and giving him the blueprint and the game plan to go work out and get this taken care of and work on this right here, because when you come back next year, this is what we're going to do. And I salute Julius for understanding that situation, was willing to follow his instructions and come back. See, that's what happened when you put a team together and 2 people on the same page and they understanding what the game plan is, you know what I'm saying? And they leaders, and they brought it straight into the locker room, you know what I'm saying? And it's carried completely over to the team. And everybody from the last man Pinson all the way up to the office is following suit, you know what I'm saying? And this is why Julius is an all-star this year. This is why Julius deserved to be in that all-star game this year, you know what I'm saying? It's his turn, his time, you know what I'm saying? And we need to appreciate what he's doing right now for a Nick person, you know what I'm saying? And putting us on his back and letting his play, show what it's supposed to be doing on the court right now. Everybody talking about the West and the East, the top power forwards. I break it down real simple, you know what I'm saying, and just stay in the East. With us being in the 7th spot, I don't see but a few players that's in front of Julius as an all-star. All-star don't carry no center. So I got to give Embiid his props. I got to give Greek his, and I got to give KD his. And I might slide Tatum up in there. But after that, with us in that 7th spot and everybody else is behind us, how it used to be back in the day, you know what I'm saying, you was brought into the All-Star game by rating, you know what I'm saying? Miami, you're behind us. So I apologize, Jimmy Butler. I apologize, man. Y'all guys is behind us, man. This man right here brought us right here where we supposed to be, and we supposed to respect and salute that, but you know what I'm saying? But, everybody got their points, and you know what I'm saying, who they want and who they judge, you know what I'm saying? But it's okay, because we're the number 1 franchise. It seems like they don't want this number 1 franchise to be on top, you know what I'm saying, or rising up, you know what I'm saying, from where we used to be, you know what I'm saying? But we making our marks and we making our points, you know what I'm saying? We getting to where we got to go, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to hold y'all up too long. I just want to let you know I'm subscribed to your channel, man, and I appreciate the work you and your all-star team y'all doing. I support and watch y'all every time, you know what I'm saying, that bell ring, man. And shout out to everybody representing that orange and blue, man. And I appreciate Julius, you know what I'm saying, taking out some of that throwing up under the bus that some of them old players used to do by saying, you know what I'm saying, this guy's a fun guy, man. That says a lot, man. He's making his mark for us recruiting for somebody else to come to New York during this offseason. That is our franchise player. Peace.
Appreciate you, Jay Boogie. No doubt. We appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the call. Yeah.
Salute. I think I know what he's saying, though. I think I know what he's saying.
We know what he's saying. Yo, big shout out to Jay Boogie, man. Thank you for the call. On that note,
salute, Pop.
Let's take a listen to Julius Randle talking about Tom Thibodeau's attention to detail, because I think this is a big part of the reason why Julius Randle is playing the way that he's playing. And the Knicks.
Wait, can I say something before I forget my thought? Before you play it, can I say something before?
Real quick. All
right. Listen, and to Prince's point, I think, like he said, I think the team gave up on Fizdale last year. And what's happening now, as far as with Randle, it's a different element, right? And you said that, you did say that in a different way, but they gave up on Fizdale. And the same thing with Jimmy Butler, right? Because in that same interview with JJ Redick, Julius Randle was like, listen, I've never been on a team where I come to the gym early and cats is already there working out, i.e. Randle quickly and after the game quickly, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like throwing up shots. I think Thibodeau respects that. This is probably why fans are like, oh, why he's getting so much burn? Because they putting in the work. And I think Thibs respects that, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's something, putting that work ethic. Right. Okay.
Right. Exactly. That work ethic. That work ethic is big for a guy like Tom Thibodeau. And this is Julius Randle on Thibodeau's attention to detail.
From a game perspective, like this is the most like detailed and prepared we are on each team. Like we come in, like as far as like scouting report, how we're going to game plan against people. We obviously have our game-to-game defensive principles and stuff like that, but like as far as like the detail and preparation that goes into our game plan, it's like it's crazy. It's second to none. And then like you know, we said we don't have practice a lot, honestly. Like we don't practice as much as hard, like you said, from playing every other day. Like shoot-arounds are almost like our practices in a sense. But yeah, the preparation and the attention to detail that Thibs has on stuff is insane.
Yeah, it's insane, he said. Insane. And let me tell you, not having practices, I'm pretty sure those shoot-arounds, you know, 1 hour, 1.5 hour shoot-arounds, I'm pretty sure they're breaking down so many things and they're not just coming to the gym and just throwing up shots. As a matter of fact, JJ Redick said with Stan Van Gundy when he was in Orlando, the shoot-arounds, they had to bring knee pads to shoot-arounds. He said, right, because that's how they practice, you know, for the shoot around. And I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau is the same way, if not even more. And they were talking about how much, how much detail was into the shoot arounds and how many plays they went over in the shoot arounds. One of the things that Julius Randle said is that for the young guys like Kevin Knox, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, Frank Ntilikina, it is great for them to come into the league under a guy like Tom Thibodeau and get this type of coaching early. And, you know, when they leave or if they leave or if they get another coach or something like that, they will notice the difference. Like, wow, like, you know, they'll appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Because like JJ Redick said, you know, when he coached with Stan Van Gundy and he got that level of detail, when he went to someplace else, it was like, you know, what's going on? What's happening? And I think with Julius Randle, just having that level of detail is allowing him to flourish because he's understanding where to get his shots. He's understanding what defenders like to do, getting an idea of their nuances. I think it helps every team defensively. Because if you know, I think John Wallace, when he was on the show, and you guys can go back and check out the video of me, John Wallace, and Legion of Knicks doing, you know, having a discussion about Jeff Van Gundy. And of course, Tom Thibodeau was there at the time, and the level of detail that they had. And I mean, like down to understanding how many dribbles a person took before they like to pull up. You know, just understanding those small nuances helps you so much as a defender. But also offensively, because you get an idea of what a player likes to do before, you know, when they're defending you, you know. And so those, I think all of those things is helping Julius Randle out, and a lot of it is him because he's receptive to it. You know, you could easily be like, man, I don't care about these scouting reports. You know, I'm just gonna go out there and hoop. Right, but you pay attention to those scouting reports. Now you can take advantage of little things. Yeah, go ahead, Prince.
I just want real quick, Sim. Do you think Tom Thibodeau? He one of them coaches. 'Cause I know my homeboy Mike. He used to coach. When we used to coach the varsity, and we won a couple championships. He used to test the young, like when he would bring up players and we would have film study, we would do a test. He would do a test on film study to see if they was paying attention. You think Tom Thibodeau, the type of coach who would probably test them doing film studies and stuff like that, have like little worksheets for them to do?
I can guarantee it. I mean, they may not have that amount of time this season because of the way things are, and they're playing games like bop, 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 bop. But I can guarantee in a regular season, they do. I do it myself. I do it myself.
See,
now the thing is,
coach,
the thing is, I can't do it on players because I don't have a scouting report on players, right? So I do it on like what we do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like every season, you know, what we do offensively and defensively changes just a little bit based on who we have, our players, right, and what they can do. You know, if we have a long team, we can do a lot of pressing, a lot of trapping, and there's certain zone traps that we'll use because we have a longer team. If we have a shorter team, we might do something a little bit different, right? Everything is based around the same principles of, you know, I like to try to play up tempo. You know, if we have fast guards, we can sometimes dribble the ball up, you know, and beat players up the court by, you know, hitting the gas with the ball in the hand. If we have a slower team, we got to do more passing the ball up. So it's different ways, but the principles are the same. We want to play tough defense. We want to press and trap a lot. We want to play an up-tempo type of offensive offense. We want to move the ball, move the man, pass and cut, fail. Right? You know, the same principles, but you got to figure out different ways to do it. So with each team, you know, I break down all of the plays that we have, make sure that they have their playbook, and then throughout the season, we'll have moments in practice where we take 15 minutes and I'll quiz them on certain terminology to make sure that they understand the terminology, right? So when it's called out on the floor, they get it, right? And you know, they understand what certain plays are and why we run certain plays. You know, you know, like certain things, like for example, you know, there's some plays that I'm like, you're not going to run that against the zone because it's probably not going to work. So when we call circle, what are you running that against? And then they say, okay, we run it against this, we run it against that, we run it against that. You know, if I call 1-2-2, if I call 2-3, or if I call, you know, 23X, which is 2-3 with a trap in the corners, what kind of players are we going to be trapping against? You know, so like, you know, I do things like that throughout the season where we just sit down and quiz. So I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau does it. There's no doubt about it that Tom Thibodeau does that. You know what I mean? But that's how you have your players prepared. And I think that's why Julius Randle is doing what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Because
you basically saying you are Coach Carter. Delilah, remember you run Delilah to the baseline. I don't know.
I mean, okay. You know, I looked at Coach Carter and I've taken some inspiration from watching Coach Carter. I'm not gonna lie, from watching the movie. I'm not gonna lie about it. Shout out to Lawrence. Oh, go ahead, Nick, Andy.
Sim doesn't have that many sisters, you know, chops. Coach Carter had like 7, so.
Right. Big shout out to Lawrence Marbury. I don't know if I said that right. He said, salute to the panel. Great intel today. Can't wait to join the panel. Myself Uncle one day. Chop. He said, Chop, where's my plate? And he said, J Boogie is the closer.
Man, come in the back. That's the closer, yes.
Let me get to this phone call.
That is the closer.
Caller, you live. What's popping?
Yo, what's good, Sim? How's everything, brother?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. Can I make a couple of points about Randle and then a point about the Obi situation, too?
Obi? All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Randle's playing unbelievable. There's no doubt. You know, like they were saying, the situation with Thibs, he's definitely bringing out the best in him. With Thibs, they were letting him do whatever he wants, you know, spinning into double and triple teams. That's out of his game. Maybe you've seen that like probably once or twice all year. So his whole game's improved. The only thing that I'm not totally sure is sustainable is his three-point shooting, because if you look at his career numbers, you know, what's he shooting, like almost high 30s, I think, right now. So I don't know if that may come back down a little bit.
He's shooting
But his
41% from the 3-point line, so it could come back down. We'll see.
Yeah, a little bit. It will probably come down a little bit if I had to guess. Just off the career, numbers. But what can you say about his game? The defense has been great. Sometimes the stretch four is giving him problems out there in the perimeter. I mean, that's pretty much the case of most power forwards. It's tough to defend that, But the rebounding has been great. So hopefully we get this guy to the All-Star game, man. He deserves it for sure.
Yeah, no doubt
about that. And then the thing with Obi is kind of a tough situation just because with Randle playing this way, those him and Obi, they're both really power forwards. You can play the small ball, but with Thibs as coach, he's not going to be a huge fan of that because then you have no defensive rim anchor. None of those guys are shot blockers or nothing, so you worry about that end of the floor. So when Randle playing this way and playing, high 30s, Obi's going to be, a 10-minute player as long as Randle's here. So, it's like, what do you do at this point?
Well, the thing is, what I've seen so far is that Thibs puts, Randle starts the game. When Obi comes in, normally it's the top of the second quarter, right?
Right.
If Obi is playing hard and playing defense and not getting beat, he stays in until it's time for Randle to come back in. So he might get 6 minutes or so.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
How do you, make an impact in 6-minute, stints? Randle playing this way, he's not going to get the minutes. So I don't want to say trade one of them has to go, but it's kind of a tough spot, don't you think?
I think what'll happen. I think what'll happen is as Obi gets better defensively. Right, and then he gets more comfortable offensively. He'll get some more minutes on the floor, and he may not carve out. He may not get, 35 minutes right off the bat. There's going to be times though where he can play him and Randle. When Obi gets better defensively, him and Randle can play more small ball with Randle at the 5 and Obi at the 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
when
that's
he gets
what I
better
see,
defensively.
But you just worry defensively, especially with Thibs as the coach. If you don't really have a great shot blocker, without a Mitch or a Noel. Yeah, you would be better offensively. But, you got to worry about that end of the ball, the other side of the floor. You know what I mean?
Right. So this whole thing, I think, is part of his development. It's part of Obi's development.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So him and Randle have a good relationship as far as Obi, what Obi says. And that, Randle sits down with him, goes over film, they work on stuff together. You have a good power forward in front of you that you can bang with and hopefully get better defensively, right? Because you got to defend this guy when you're in practice. When they get a chance to practice, you got to defend this guy and those type of things. So I think it's going to help Obi. And as Obi gets better defensively, hopefully he gets better defensively, he'll earn more time on the floor. He can get up to 20, 25 minutes on the floor. Now, if it ever comes to time where you say this guy is about to surpass Randle, then you make a decision then. If Randle's on the team for that long, then you make a decision then. But, Obi's got a ways to go, and the situation that he's in right now is actually good for him, in my opinion, because Randle's playing the way that he's playing quickly, is really popular. So because Obi isn't giving you the production that we all thought he would, and quickly is giving you that production, it's taking all the heat off of Obi to let him go ahead and just
exactly. I just feel like they're also using Obi wrong. Like they're using him as some stretch 4 on the perimeter. That's not his game, at least not right now. You see a lot of air balls and, shots off the backboard. I would try and get him some oops, some pick and pops, mid-range pick and rolls, pick and pops. Like, the post, they use him as a post player and knock down 3-point shooter. That's not his game.
Yeah,
at least at this early stage of his career,
Right. Well,
like when he's out there, they got to use him, correctly at least. What I mean?
We'll see how, it continues to develop with Derrick Rose being out there in the lineup, because that's, the last game, it wasn't that good. The second unit wasn't that good. But since Derrick Rose has been there, we've started to see some other little things from Obi, with him getting the ball in right spots and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes.
Last thing really quick on the Randle Obi thing, because it's kind of funny because it shows, when you draft, for the most part, when you draft someone at your position, it kind of shows, we don't fully believe in you. So my thing with Randle, they didn't expect this type of player, based off of last year, because they draft, when they draft someone that plays the power forward, which is Randle's spot, they probably, didn't think they were going to get this type of player in Julius Randle this season based off last year. Not that he was horrible. I know most fans were on him, but like he wasn't great. So, you know, I think it just shows they weren't totally confident in Randle for the long term, you know. So, but we'll see how it plays out, you know, down the line, I guess, you know.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we will see. I appreciate it.
Appreciate the time, man. Have a good one, bro.
You
Yo,
too.
salute. Can I say one thing? Because I know fans be like that. We thinking about that. Like, remember, he's still a rookie. He's getting acclimated into the NBA style. We always look at or think about, oh, he's NBA ready, but yet he's still a rookie. He has to get acclimated. Listen, Julius Randle, and then you have Obi. Who's going to come off the bench after Julius Randle?
What you mean?
As far as that power forward position. No, people saying, oh, we got Obi now. Time to trade Randle. Right? This guy is still a rookie. He has to get acclimated. He's learning the ins and outs of the NBA game now at this level and under this regime, this coaching staff. And I wanted to touch back on what you said because it was like, what was the impact of the coach?
Right. I mean, and listen, that coaching staff is having an impact on Obi Toppin as well. So, you know, I'm not worried about Obi. I mean, actually, sometimes I am worried about Obi. I'm not going to lie. I can't say that. Sometimes I am worried about Obi. But I think he'll be all right, you know, watching to see how things go.
Yes.
Last thing I want to touch on, just more, you know, I'm about to come around to the panel, pushing Julius Randle's All-Star bid, because this is the last chance. This is the last chance for him to have this All-Star, you know, one more game before the coaches vote. Right, it's his last shot to make an All-Star bid against Minnesota. So I'm going to come around. I want to get everybody. I want to find out, what do you think he can do against Minnesota? Do you think it's on his mind that I've got to do something this game, or is he just going to keep playing the right way? All right, so I'm going to come around to you in a minute. Looking at just some information of what Julius Randle was doing so far this season. He's averaging 23.1 points per game, 11 rebounds, 5.6 assists, shooting 47.6% from the field, 40.6% from the three-point line. He's averaging more points than Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns. Of course, big shout out to SNY for the infographic that you see on the screen. Right, more rebounds than Joel Embiid and Bam Adebayo. More assists than Jrue Holiday and Donovan Mitchell. A higher three-point percentage than Damian Lillard and Buddy Hield. A lot of the guys that you mentioned here, though, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, these guys are all going to be on the All-Star team. Possibly Bam Adebayo will be on the All-Star team. Right? And of course, it's not saying anything, ladies and gentlemen. You know, how much does it say? There's a lot of guys that you could probably, in the league, that you could put a stat up like this about. But his production this year is putting his name in good company. Again, Julius Randle's averaging more points than Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns. More rebounds than Joel Embiid and Bam Adebayo. More assists than Jrue Holiday and Donovan Mitchell. A higher three-point percentage than Damian Lillard and Buddy Hield. Take that. Shout out to SNY for the infographic.
Take
Divine.
that.
So let me come to you, Divine. Tomorrow is his last shot to make an All-Star bid, to put his name out there, let coaches know what he's doing. What do you think he's going to do tomorrow? And do you feel like he will be forcing his game, or he's just going to play his regular basketball game?
All he got to do tomorrow, Knicks win the game. Knicks win, he in prop. You know what I mean? Going to the All-Star game with one game under 500. The Knicks can pull that game out tomorrow. And Julius Randle, even if Julius Randle do his average, and the Knicks win tomorrow, one game under 500, I think they're going to have to recognize. You know what I mean? I think that could play a major part if they have a game. But if we go off the one game he had in Atlanta, then I guess what? It's a lock. If we go for 40, it's over. So, he go for 40, it's over. Yeah, but I think if the Knicks win the game tomorrow, and he at least have his average man and do what he do, and I think that's gonna let people say, you know what, they team the 6th, 7th seed, whatever the case may be. He's playing good. The team playing good. I think they had to get him in.
Yeah. Steph, what do you think, man? You think he's gonna try to do anything crazy, or he's just gonna play his basketball game, play the right way?
I think he's going to just play basketball game, play the right way. The good thing about the reserves is that the coaches are voting, and they seem to maybe take wins into account more so than media and fans. So I think Randle has solidified himself among the coaches already. I think tomorrow he just needs to play his game. If he hits 40, he hits 40, but I don't think he needs to go out there with it in his head that I need to get a certain amount of points so the coaches can recognize me. I think the coaches see him, they see the Knicks, they see Thibs, and I think he's solidified. I think he's good.
Okay. All right. Prince?
Triple double coming soon. Let's stamp this all-star game entrance with a triple double. But again, I think it's going to be more than just this game. I think these next couple games will truly put Julius over the top. I think he's just only going to continue to play good basketball. The team's been gelling. I think they understand what they're up against going into this little break. So again, I believe we should hopefully go undefeated. That'd be lovely if we can go undefeated. But again, I think Julius still plays like a captain, plays like the leader he's been playing all year. So again, I don't see him falling off. I just see Julius maybe, like I said, sticking to his guns, continuing to do what Thibs has asked him to do, and hopefully the team just picks him up and helps him out so that Sunday we can get another win.
Yeah, and like I was saying, Sunday is the last day before coaches vote. The coaches vote on Tuesday. So Sunday is the last day. Once he plays tomorrow, the Knicks don't play on Monday, and then on Tuesday the coaches vote. So it's kind of that last chance for him to make his case. And of course, a win with his averages, would probably go a long way. Nate?
Yeah, like I said earlier in the chat, he's already in. His game is enough right there. The record for the team is enough right there. The way he's taken a franchise that's become irrelevant and made him relevant, that's enough right there. I think he just goes out and plays his game, and we're always wanting a win, but I think it's already a done deal. I think he's a shoo-in. I think the coaches aren't stupid. They've seen him play all year. Everybody's raved about him, about how he's just improved so much. I would be shocked if he doesn't make the All-Star bid.
I mean, I get what you're saying when you say you would be shocked. I understand what you're saying, but you never know. You never know.
Well, I know they don't respect the Knicks, so that's what I worry about.
Yeah, you never know. It's a lot of players out there that's also worthy. A lot of players out there that's worthy. So we'll see. Big Bubble, what do you think, man?
I'm gonna go with my man, Divine 9. Just win. I think winning. I mean, the Timberwolves. I'm not one of those people that say, this is like, we should win. But seeing the Timberwolves record, and this is a game. We got to win the game. We got to win the game. If Julius Randle does what he does, let the game come to him like he's been doing. He'll be fine. I think he'll be an all-star. I'm gonna say this though, Sim. Somebody on Monday is not going to be happy. There's always an all-star. There's always an all-star snub. So,
yeah. I mean, or on Tuesday night. On Tuesday night.
On Tuesday night, right? So, look, right. We all know. I'm gonna say it like this, right? It's always like the Grammys, right? We know who wins we all know who should win a Grammy. We all know Beyonce should have won a Grammy, but sometimes it doesn't work like that. I mean, as long as we know Julius Randle's an all-star, we all know he's an all-star. So that counts for something a little bit, but we'll see, man. We gotta let the cards fall where they fall, and he put the Knicks in a great position to be in the playoffs, and he's having his best year yet. So let the chips fall where they fall, man. The longer he continue playing for us.
Isaiah, he just said Kanye. He just said Kanye. Look at the headline on the Daily News. Newspaper.
Yeah, all right. Go ahead, Andy. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, Sim. First thing, I think that coaches, basically have their minds settled. I don't think one last game is going to do something, but I'm thinking it's more about his teammates. I think that the Knicks teammates are going to try to feature Randle if they think this is necessary for him to get to the All-Star team. That's one thing. And, one thing that I think Julius should have done before the fan voting ended, and he should go to the Knicks and tell them, like, listen, let's make a huge event out of it. I'm going to have, an extra $1 million for getting to the All-Star team. Let me fund like 10 games of 2,000 tickets, for the team. That would be, I don't know, like $100K for him, probably, maybe a little bit more. And let's make a meet and greet with me, whatever. Just get me to the All-Star team.
See, do you think that really is on his mind, though? He makes an extra $1 million. Is that what it is? An extra $1 million if he makes the All-Star team?
Yeah, but I'm not thinking that, he should have done it, right? But if I'm the Knicks and I'm like, okay, we didn't have an All-Star last season, right? We have just only like 2,000 people, and we didn't even know like a couple of weeks ago that this is going to happen, right?
Right.
So let's just promise people, right? Let's just promise people. Let's just play politics. Just promise people something for voting him in. See what's going to be then after they get it done.
Yeah, the Knicks play Minnesota tomorrow night, man. Did you guys see that Anthony Edwards dunked last night?
That was sick.
It's crazy.
Sim,
I mean, you see the picture right here.
Did you see the stat line?
Dunk. I seen the stat line. I know the stat line, but still, it was still an impressive dunk. The way he rolls. I don't want to actually show the highlight because I don't want TNT or the NBA to take it down. But you can see the picture right there. That was a crazy dunk. Crazy dunk. He better not do that to us. You know what I mean? Better not do it to us. Let me get to a couple phone calls and I'm going to come back to Chop. Find out what he thinks Randle's going to do tomorrow night. Call you live. What's popping?
What's going on, Sam? Respect to the show, respect to the panel, respect to the chat.
Appreciate you, man.
I think Randle's next thing that he needs to prove is winning, man. I don't think it needs to be another 40 burger, nothing like that. I think there's like players in this league that are used to like being the center of the offense that like a 40 game is like a dime a dozen of them. I don't think he's going to tickle as many fans when he's doing that, even if he succeeded as he would if he just won, because I think that's the point he has left to make, especially playing for the Knicks. He needs to show that he's winning. So I think he should just focus on winning.
Okay.
That's the stone he got left to turn.
And that's what I hope. I hope he just focuses on winning. You know what I'm saying? And then just continue to let the game come to him. But, he's a young guy, never been there before. You just never know. You know what I'm saying? Especially after,
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially after doing the interview last night, and he was talking about how he was playing with Kobe, right, in Kobe's last game. And he said Kobe passed the ball into him, and, he told Kobe, I'm going to come down and I'm going to take this shot, right? And Kobe was like, he said, go ahead if you want to get booed. He's like, but you better give me the basketball. I'm paraphrasing, but you can go check the rest of it and see everything he said. He's like, but you better give me the ball. You know what I'm saying? And Randle was like, I was like, okay, yeah, he's right. Let me just give him the basketball. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously Kobe was, it was his last game. He was taking 50 shots. He took 50 shots to score 60 points in that game. But you just never know if he's feeling that way too. Like, you know what? This is my game to prove it. I doubt it, but he's a young guy. He might want to take that last stab at making sure he gets in. But I think you're right. As long as they win, that's the best chance that he has.
I feel like it's more productive for him than a big game. If he already showed he got it, and it's like the big games happen all the time. But like you were saying about the interview, that's what I was about to say. It seemed like he got the hand on his shoulder. I don't think he's gonna wall out.
Good. I hope not. That's good. Hey, I appreciate the call, man.
All right, man. Peace to you.
Peace. Chop. Got to unmute yourself, man. Talk to me. What's Randle going to do tomorrow?
Listen, in my mind, and salute to Isaiah for saying that, because what I think about it is remember, and Prince, I'm so sorry. Remember when they went out and won the game for Fizdale? Your man, what's his name again? Moutier. I think it's not going to be about Randle. It's going to be a team effort. They're going to go back to Minnesota, or they're going to play Minnesota, and they're going to win this game for Thibs. In my mind, despite if Randle, he don't have to score 40 points. He could be a facilitator. It might be a triple-double. Somebody said it. It might be a triple-double. Rebounds, assists, and scoring. He don't have to score 30, 40, right? But I think what's going to happen is they're going to go out and win this game for Fizz because that they play in Minnesota.
For Thibs,
and to show
for
them.
For Thibs, not Fizz.
Right, for Thibs. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thibs and Fizz, I'm so sorry. But, right. I keep getting it. But I think they're going to go out and they're going to show up, man. Listen, man. And not just that, because it's so funny, because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, every time I vote, you like, yo, make sure y'all vote. And I vote, and then I go on the phone, I got to wait 24 hours. A couple of days, I guess it'd be like, it's 2 votes for that one day, right? And then now, in my mind, I'm like, man, our votes don't matter for Randle, because you said the coaches got to vote for him.
Right. Our
right?
votes don't matter now. Right. Now it's all about the coaches. It's all about the coaches now. So anything that we do does not matter.
Right. And then Freezy, Uncle Freezy, he proposed a question. He made a Twitter poll and a YouTube poll this morning. After the second half of the season, who's going to step up more? So in my mind, listen, I want Randle to get in that All-Star, the reserve, just to be a part of it, right? And in my mind, I'm like, man, the Knicks get no respect. Rodney Dangerfield, right? If Randle gets snubbed, he's going to be the one that's going to step up the next term, right? Or the next half of the season. Like, oh, word, y'all try to play me?
Okay. All right. Hey, let's hope. Right. The Knicks play Minnesota tomorrow night. There is no it should be's with the Knicks, right? But let's hope that the Knicks are able to come out and get a big win versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, because it's definitely going to be, it's needed. We need to get this win. The Knicks are currently in the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference. They could quickly slide down to the 10th spot. They could slide down to the 8th, the 9th spot or whatever. They want to stay in contention. Just a few more games before the season is, or the first half of the season, ends. And I think the Knicks, look, they understand what the stakes are. Tom Thibodeau understands what the stakes are. Real quick, I'm going to come around. I want to find out from you. And just do 30 seconds, because I want to hear from Thibs after practice, and then we'll hear one more time from Julius Randle, and then we can go on from there. Real quick, what's your take on tomorrow's game? Of course, we're going to do a game preview tomorrow where we'll break it down even further, but just a quick 30-second take on the game. I'm going to start with you, Devon.
Man, after 3 days rest, salute to everybody in the panel in the chat, man. Hit that thumbs up. Great show. I think after 3 days of rest, man, getting to go over a lot of game plan and relax the body a little bit, but get some practice in. I think the Knicks going to come out knowing that this is a big game for them. Every game is a big game, basically, to me. But I think they're going to realize, this is definitely a winnable game at home. Our bodies is pretty fresh. We went over a lot of game plans, so I'm looking forward to them Knicks coming out playing a good game tomorrow, man. Hopefully we pull out this victory. And we 1 game away going into the next one, man, from 500.
Yeah. Prince? Let me get you unmuted there. Go ahead, Prince.
Hey, I look forward to us, like I said, Julius doing his thing. Nothing's new. I don't think this is a revenge game, makeup game, none of that. I definitely think, obviously the guy's going to want to go out and perform for Thibs. But I believe this is just another game, like every other on this 72-game stretch. Obviously, Minnesota, they're a young team with a lot of young, energetic players, but hopefully, they're the fact that they just can't play structured basketball, sustainable for the whole 48 minutes. I really don't look forward to them giving us too much of a challenge today. Tomorrow. So again, look forward to Julius doing his thing. We stick to our defensive philosophies. Cat's not back, right?
He back.
Oh, Cat's back? Okay.
Yeah, he played the other night.
Okay, well, Cat back. I mean, it'll be a game. But again, with that being said, I think Cat might give us some trouble. But again, hopefully, as long as nobody else that's on the bench goes crazy and we can keep Cat under, 20, 25 points. Like I said, we always have a way to win a game as long as we keep the next team top players under 25. So again, as we do that, I look forward to us pulling out a win on Sunday. So.
Okay. Nate?
Nick's going to win. We're going to lock down that young team on defense. And Randall's going to have 30, 15, and 7.
Hey, if he comes out, he has 30, 15, and 7, man. Coaches are, coaches are already looking to say, look what this guy is doing. He comes out and has that. Whew. That's gonna be what's up. Big Bubba.
Yeah. Again, right, a very important game. I don't take any team lightly. The Knicks, again, are not in that position to take any team lightly. Anthony Edwards is finding his strides. Karl Anthony Towns is always Karl Anthony Towns. It's going to be a tough one, man. Again, right, defensively we'll be better than them, so that we have an advantage of. But listen, I'm not taking any team disadvantage or anything like that. So let's play our game. Let's do what we've been doing with our defense, and hopefully we'll win. But I do think we'll win. But we just can't take any team lightly.
Yeah, that's the truth. Steph?
The same thing, to piggyback off of what Isaiah said, we can definitely win this game if our defense is up to par, but we can't take any team lightly. This is how I think we all felt good going into that Orlando game, and we got blown out. So hopefully they had three practices. Maybe Thibs gave them a day off. I doubt it. And they shored up some things, and hopefully they'll be out chopping at the bit, and we could put this away early.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's take a listen to Tom Thibodeau. Then we'll come back and hear one more from Julius Randle, and we'll head out. This is Tom Thibodeau from today's media availability, ladies and gentlemen.
Raise your hand, and I'll bring you into the room. First question, Rebecca Harlow.
Hey, Coach. Just curious your thoughts on this. Julius Randle said the other day that one of the things that he really appreciates about this team is just sort of that gym rat nature, that this is the first time he's been on a team where, guys come home from a road trip, go straight to the gym, et cetera. Your thoughts on that? When you look at this group, is that something that has stood out to you compared to teams past? You've coached a lot of good teams.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of the things that, we wanted to do is to pick guys who are gym rats, so that would help us to build our culture. And we feel fortunate that we were able to do that. And so the professionalism of the veterans has been terrific. And I love our young guys. Our young guys are hungry. They're in all the time. They can't get enough. They're students of the game. And that's what we need. We need everyone working like that to improve.
Mark Berman, New York Post.
Hey, Tom. You're going against Minnesota. I was just wondering, the memories of being there, and unfortunately, it was a bad ending for you there. And what's your emotions facing that franchise?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good people there. I enjoyed my time there. It was a good experience. Proud of what we were able to accomplish. But then, it's time to move on. So, unfortunately, there are a lot of former teams for me.
Jeff Bondi, Daily News.
Hey, Tom, just in your last years in Minnesota, the defense obviously your calling card, but it wasn't as highly rated as it is in New York and Chicago. Was that just personnel? And can you kind of talk about the schemes, whether they were the same or how did that work out?
Yeah, no, and again, I think part of you look at your team and what you feel the strengths and weaknesses are. You try to cover up whatever weaknesses you have. I was proud of where we were. We were a terrific offensive team, and many people didn't think we would be that. And we were a top 5 team in offense. And I believe the second year we finished with the second best record in the West. So I was very proud of that accomplishment as well. And so there were some things obviously that we wanted to do better. But that second year there was very good. And the third year, I thought we had a really good chance as well. Even after the trade with Jimmy, that team was playing well.
Amanda Hajar, Knicks Digital.
Coach, it seems every year more and more rookies are coming in and making an immediate impact with kind of this increased athleticism. What have you seen as a coach in this shift in development, and how much attention in the game plan do you need to give guys like Anthony Edwards?
Well, his athleticism is special. They're a very talented team, and obviously they've gone through some stuff with injuries that has been unfortunate for them. But it's when you look at the way Beasley's played, Edwards, and of course Carl is he's as good as it gets offensively. That team put a lot of points up on the board. So Rubio's a real good veteran, can run a team. So they've got a lot of pieces. And now they got Carl back and makes them different.
Mark Berman.
Yeah, Tom, just a couple of things. You have 3 days off, maybe for the first time this season, to prepare for a game. And all the players talk about the amazing preparation for each game. Do you feel you have a nice little cushion here to really get you guys going for this particular game? And also with Derrick Rose, I mean, he didn't have a very good game. Maybe the last 2 games he's been a little off. What did you notice?
Well, I think from a practice perspective, it's something we needed. If you take a hard look at our schedule, it's been very taxing and unusual. So we haven't had a lot of opportunity for practice, to practice as much as we would have liked. And the Orlando game, I felt we as a team didn't play well. And so it gives us a chance to work on some of those things that we feel that we needed to fix. And that's where our focus is.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Everyone, Mitchell Robinson's here. If you have a question, please raise your hand and I'll bring you into the room.
All right, and we will
First question.
Pause it there, stop it there. You guys can go ahead and check out that Mitchell Robinson interview when you're ready. What I want to do is just lastly, before we get out of here, I just want to play what Julius Randle, what it would mean to Julius Randle to make the All-Star team. All right, so let's take a listen to Julius Randle, and how he would feel making an All-Star team and what it would mean to him, especially doing it in New York. Then we'll get some last words from everybody and we'll head on out. Let you enjoy your Saturday. This is Julius Randle, ladies and gentlemen.
With all you've been through in your career, what would it mean to you to make the All-Star game this year?
Man, it would mean a lot. Like you said, with everything I've been through, the stages in my career, and just for me, just to persevere, stay with it. A lot of people, you know how this league is, man. Like, you can be here a couple of years and you can be right out of it, and people will forget about you, and that'll be it. For me, just to stay with it, keep improving, getting better every year. Nobody expects people to make a jump and get better in year 7. Like nobody expects that. So for me, like I said, just stay with it, keep getting better, and I just want to keep improving. I truly love the game of basketball, so I just want to keep improving. And for me to, get that recognition or, to achieve, that type of success would mean a lot. I really appreciate it. I don't think it'd be a better place to do it. And then, like I said, like we've talked about it already, but just to be in New York, being, Knicks fans, that they want, some type of success. They want their team to win. They want, a lot to cheer for. So for it to be here, will mean a lot for sure.
No doubt about that. Knicks fans want somebody to be successful, want the team to be successful. So, Julius Randle, we need you to go ahead and take it there for us. Hopefully the coaches find it in their heart to vote him in. You guys can send this out to as many coaches. That's what I want to tell you. Send this out. If you know the coach's Twitter account, Instagram account, send it out to them and say, hey, we need you to vote for Julius Randle. Send it to the other NBA teams. We need you to vote for Julius Randle. All right, but let's go ahead and bring this thing to a close. Divine, just 30 seconds, show. Man. 30 seconds, some final thoughts, man.
Okay, great show, y'all. I've just dropped the link in the chat for the morning show tomorrow morning. If you guys want to get up in the morning, just hear some Knick news before you start your day tomorrow, before the game. Get yourself hyped for the game tomorrow night. But I tell you what, man, though he don't need it, and long as we win the game, can you imagine Julius Randle having 2 40-point games in 1 week and dropping one on the last night of the All-Star voting just for the hell of it? ESPN, NBC will be blowing up. The Knicks will get a good brand endorsement tomorrow by Julius Randle going there, and they hear that man name at the All-Star game representing the New York Knicks, and we haven't had that since Carmelo Anthony, will be amazing. Just the energy he would bring to the city when they call his name that night. So big up to everybody in the chat. Great show, Sim. Great salute to the panel, man. Knicks, let's get that win tomorrow. And like I said, y'all, the morning show tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, man. I'm going to go live. And if not, check the video out later, man. If you want to get up before you go to church or you go to work or whatever, you want to have some Knick content, let's go check it out tomorrow morning. Peace to everybody out there.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, Devon, why don't you put that link in the Zoom chat? Then I can take it and put it in the YouTube chat for everybody. Prince, go ahead, man.
Hey, man, look forward to like I said, us continuing this Knick like I said, journey. Hopefully, like I said, Julius end up in the in the All-Star game. This team keeps playing playoff basketball. We just got to get a little bit more consistent. We got to find some scoring from a couple other people. And, just bigger than anything, keep playing Tom Thibodeau and New York Knicks basketball. And we'll be talking about good Knicks stuff going into Sunday. But everybody pound that chat. Make sure y'all check out the Brother Divine. And, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to chat. Shout out to panel. Always great fellowshipping with y'all brothers and the queen. And, hey, man, look forward to doing this again.
No doubt. Steph, some final thoughts?
Yeah, hopefully we get back on track tomorrow. I think we will. After 3 days of practice, I'm pretty sure they're going to be chomping at the bit. I think the defense is going to be on point. I don't expect much changes as far as rotation and starting lineup, and that's fine with me. It's just about us doing what we do and being consistent doing it, and hopefully we get back on track tomorrow. Shout out to you, Sam, the panel, the chat. Let's get it.
All right. Big Bubba.
Oh, man. Shout out to you, Sim, Divine, the Prince, Chop, Steph. Yeah, shout out to my boy, who's Mark, man. We're glad to see you back, man. It's been 6 months. We're glad to see you back. Also shout out to my man, Guillermo, Nick Lee's on our podcast, all them, Uncle Freezy and all that. You know what, Sim? I'm going to miss you guys, man. For 2 weeks, I'm going to miss you guys. I'm going to be on, I'm going to try to be on if the internet's really good. I'm going to try to be on. I'm going to Guyana. You're not interfering this time. By the time tomorrow, I'm going to be in Guyana having a good time. It's going to be like 75 degrees out there. It's better than out here where it's like 30-something with snow. But really excited, man. Eating with Chef Zay. We'll be on. And we're going to be good. I'm going to show you guys some restaurants. We're going to be cooking some food. Maybe cooking some food. I don't know yet. But just depending on how I feel. But it's going to be fun, man. Can't wait to go. And then I'm excited, man. I'm going to miss you guys. Not you, Sim. Everybody else. I'm going to
miss everybody. You got the cardboard and NBK on it when you stand on the beach, waving on the beach, NBK, like
exactly.
That. Come on, Chef.
Hey, I got you, man. I got you.
Just make sure you come back safe. That's all. Chop. Final thoughts, man.
Salute. God bless us in the panel. Listen, the First Lady, Auntie Steph, bless. My dude, Uncle P, Uncle D.
Yes, sir.
Bubbalicious.
Okay, all right.
Big Bubbalicious. They call you Big Bubba. I just want to say Big Bubba. Pause, but Big Bubbalicious. But when you go to Guyana, listen, bro, make sure you learn some of those recipes. You're going to get real good West Indian food.
Oh, no doubt, man. Come on now.
Okay.
Sim, that's the thrill. Sim, when I come back, that's the first. We gonna cook a Guyana meal when I come back.
Guyanese,
yes.
Yeah, no doubt.
But, yo, salute the chat. God bless everybody. This is a time we gotta be safe. On the news, they were saying, "Oh, you gotta wear double masks," right? They said even if you have the disposable mask. Me and Mama, we had an argument. She's like, "Yo, idiot." I was like, "What you talking about?" She's like, "No, it's why it's called a disposable mask." I said, "I wear it for 3 days. I spray Lysol and I put it in a Ziploc bag." She's like, "No, throw it away after you wear it for 1 day." Then they saying you have to wear double mask now. Things is real, so make sure everybody is safe. Make sure y'all washing your hands. I don't know if you want to keep palm olive in your car, and wash your hands if you can with a gallon of water. And make sure you keep distant from people too as well. Keep your Lysol, your sanitizer wipes. Be discreet when you're around older folks as well too. I don't know if not everybody want to. They said the military guys don't want to get the vaccine. But listen, we gotta be safe because these things is real. And I want the chat and whoever's watching, just be careful. Because I just heard somebody, the guy in the gas station, he said, "Listen, man, you know that guy." You know, the Indian guys, they run cab. He's like, "Yeah, that guy died." I was like, "What happened to the guy?" He's like, "He passed away." I was like, "Oh." So we have to be careful and be safe. And then for tomorrow, like I said, like how they wanted to come out and win for Fizz, I think they're going to come out and they're going to want to win for Thibs. Just because it's Minnesota. And we got D Rose. And,
all right.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Listen, God bless everybody, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. Make sure that I'm about to put it in the chat. Make sure that you go check out tomorrow morning, Knicks Real Talk. All right, so make sure you check that out. I'm about to put the link in the chat shortly. Be safe, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you tomorrow for a game preview. Tomorrow night's game starts at 7 o'clock, I believe. All right, so be peaceful. And as usual, ladies and gentlemen, spread love. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and take this thing home, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.